Welcome to the new Overlords Podcast, where we talk about video games. I'm Max, and with me, as always, is our very own uncorrupted expedition leader to someplace new and fun we're going to explore today, my co-host, Sema. Hello there, Sema.
I feel like you don't know me, Max.
Uncorrupted?
I am totally corrupted. I'm totally
You are the most
filled with
uncorrupted person I know. You are innocent as the driven snow. Speaking of plowing through snow to get to always someone who always delivers through rain or sleet or snow. Also with us to talk about New World is Stask. Hello, Stask. Hello.
Hey,
Hello
Stask.
there. Hey guys, how are you?
We're doing great.
Awesome.
Forgot who we were talking to. Thought you're like talking to the chat room, but they can't answer back, so I will answer for them. They're all doing great. Everybody is great. We're all fine here. How are you? Thanks for coming on, Stask. I brought Stask on because some aspire to leadership, some have it thrust upon them. Stask is our leader in New World for our guild, which I really appreciate because it was me until I thrust it upon Stask. But New World's got a whole bunch of stuff going on, so we're going to be talking about that today. I think that's going to be really exciting. Oh, I even had a new music clip dropping. I'm going to have to dig it up manually while we're talking here. But yeah, so just in general, how you liking it, Stask?
I'm enjoying it. I've always enjoyed this game for several different reasons, but the Aeternum has added quite a bit. And the Angry Earth expansion, I'm exploring that along with Aeternum too. So
sweet. Well, are you the
Stask
hero?
like?
I'll play the drop in because you are the hero that Aeternum needs. Which goes a little something like this. Just play it. Why? God bless America, Windows.
Goes like how, Max?
Do you want me to play this? How do you want me to play it? No, I'm not going to play it. Do you want me to play it? Oh, I'm not going to play it. Oh, now it brings up play this. Well, I'll play
This
it,
is how we
but
know
it's muted.
the singularity has happened.
All right, here we go.
Aeternum needs heroes. Think you're up to the challenge?
There you go. Aeternum needs heroes, Stask. Are you up to the challenge?
Maybe.
So yeah, we're going to do a little bit differently this week, and maybe moving forward. I figure if we're going to have a podcast about a thing, why don't we lead with that thing? So we're going to lead with New World. We will do a little bit of game news. We've got stuff to talk about for No Man's Sky and World of Warcraft 20th anniversary. So that'll come towards the second half. But in the first half, let's get into it. As you said, it is looking really good. Aeternum is a brand new release that is not so new for people that have been playing before, but it is very new because sort of the main point of it is consoles. So it's been released on PlayStation and on Xbox, right? And it's all crossplay. It's all sort of wrapped together. It's all kind of like one big thing now, which I think is fun for everybody. And with that, they have switched us all over. Well, they haven't switched us over. They've stood up a bunch of fresh start servers, new servers. So everybody can start on a level playing field, all cross server. Everybody, they're sort of pushing everybody there. Now you and I, Stask, we've been playing on, what's our server? Valhalla was where we started?
Yep.
Yeah. So we've been playing on Valhalla for the last couple of years. I started on launch on Valhalla. And then with this new release, they're really pushing everyone to go to these new servers to get a chance to start fresh, but they also want everybody kind of in the same place with the cross-play so that all the console people have people to play with and that kind of thing too. And so I created a character over in the new... What is our new server? Halbador.
That's the one.
Yeah, Harbadoo is our new server.
Hudson Land?
Hudson Land?
Hudson Land.
Hudson Land. We're on Hudson Land, whatever that means. I don't know what that means. But we're playing on Hudson Land. And I think it was a good idea. I'm glad I switched over. If for nothing else, that my inventory is completely empty, which is worth losing all of my progress.
Right. That's like the bonus.
It's so weird how
No
liberating
incentives.
that
No
is.
incentives needed. Just empty. The promise of empty inventory.
So you went over to the new server too. You started after I convinced you, what, 2 nights ago, to switch over
Yeah.
to Hudson Land. Did you roll a character there? Did you finally get on?
Yeah, you strong-armed Machete and I into hopping over to the fresh start.
Yeah, I
Um,
laid out
but I
the
think
case for it.
yeah, there are a lot of pros to moving over.
Just out of
Said-
curiosity, are either of you playing on console? Like
I am
you and
not.
Machete?
What about yours?
Yeah.
Your Machete Stask?
No, neither of us are.
No,
I think it's
PC
both through
gamers.
Steam.
Gotcha.
Yes, all PC. Did you see at the start of this trailer? Did you guys? Yeah, I don't know if you saw that, and people listening obviously did not see it. But there's a little. Yeah, so it zooms in. It's Amazon Games Presents. The ship is going by, and it zooms in on the ship, and then there's a little rat that climbs up the
Yeah.
the rope. Did you see that? Did you see
Yeah,
that
I
rat?
did.
Why
Yes,
is there
I
not a ratophobia mode? So in the
And that-
90s, in the early 90s, when I first was a Microsoft developer, I was in the field. I was actually doing a project for United Airlines. We made reservation software. And the marketing campaign initially for the reservation software, because you had to like install it off a disk. This was before the internet. It had a mouse because it was like, now you can make reservations with a mouse, and there's a mouse. And they did TV commercials with the mouse, and they had people write in and complain that they're not going to fly United Airlines anymore because they're afraid of mice, and you put a mouse on the commercial. But we don't have mouseophobia, but people are afraid of mice just as much as they're afraid of spiders.
Is that true though?
In my mind, it's true, which makes it fact. There you go. Anyway, we have New World, new servers. So yeah, you said you did get on the new server. I sort of cut you off there to talk about it.
Yeah, no, that night, because there was a queue when we first created our characters, which you blew by us. in
I know.
line for the
They're
queue
like,
to
they're
log
like,
in.
we got a queue. It's like, it's like 90. The queue's not, here, let me check it out. Oh, I have a queue too. 50, 40, 30. They're like, what? Ours isn't goes. Once you get on the server and you make a character, you get priority in the queue. What they don't want is just people, making tons of characters for the first time. They want to push those people to other servers if it's filled up. But if you have a character there, then you get priority. So you did get on the next day?
That night, I ran with Sunday night. I ran with one of the raid teams. Maybe it was Monday, and was able to get back in right after, later in the evening.
Now, did you recreate
No
the
problem.
character you had on Valhalla, or did you do something new?
No, I went with the Mystic archetype on this one,
Okay.
which is slightly different than my build on my original build.
What was your original build?
That's a great question. It was Life Staff and Hatchet.
That was what mine was. I loved Hatchet Life Staff.
That guy has a pumpkin head.
So stay around till the end of the show. We will mention Halloween events, and there's a great one in New World. So,
Oh, okay.
where you can get the pumpkin head. But yeah, I loved Hatchet Life Staff. It's not as good as it used to be, though. So,
Right.
I switched over. What did you switch to? What did you say you switched to?
I went with the Mystic archetype, and it's Life Staff and Void Gauntlet.
Oh, that's what I did. So
Dude,
I'm Void Gauntlet Life
stop.
Staff, which I do like.
Real original, Max.
I
Really
rolled mine
cool.
before you, so
Fair.
we got that going for me. But yeah, things have changed over the past couple of years. So if you're not familiar with it, this discussion of archetypes is one of those things that they added in, which is kind of nice. So instead of with the way this works is kind of like how Guild Wars 2 works, where you have two weapons. And this one, you have two weapons in, we were talking about it for Throne and Liberty, but this one you swap between your weapons, which I like. I like swapping mindfully, and I have it on a mouse button, so I can drop a couple heal circles, then I can swap out of my Void Gauntlet, and I can do close-up abilities inside of the heal circle, and then a debuff circle, and you like get rhythms down, and you sort of set your rotation by swapping. So I like how they do that here. Oh, they do that in ESO also. Throne and Liberty, I did not get, where you pick two weapons, but it's like the weapons don't even matter. You just put whatever ability on your bar, and it just happens to come out of that weapon without you even switching to it. It's weird. It's like you just have one weapon. You're just picking sort of two sets of abilities, or no weapon, and you're just picking spells. It was kind of weird. But the archetype, what the archetype does, especially for new players, it's a way to get new players into the game a little bit easier than having to like learn what all of these weapons are and then have to pick two of them. It says, all right, do you want to be like a in your face fighter tank? Well, you pick the fighter class, and the fighter class gives you two weapons and a couple professions on the side with a little bit of progress in those trade skill professions to boost you along the way a little bit. And then as you do the tutorial and you start out, they give you both of the weapons, and you sort of like get set up much more quickly. So I kind of like that. I like that they did that. What was your feeling of getting started out that way, Stask?
It definitely streamlined it quite a bit. As opposed to, I remember when I first started playing, I had to look up what pairs with what, and then see if I liked playing with that. I wanted to be a healer, so life staff was a no-brainer. Yeah, this is nice. It makes it a lot smoother to get into the game.
Why did you want to be a healer?
I just enjoy healing in general.
But
That's
like,
usually my.
were you looking forward to like playing with other characters rather than soloing? I guess is my question.
Group content?
Yeah,
Yeah, I
maybe
mean,
eventually, yeah.
because like it seems like a rough way to start out. I guess it depends on the game.
Yeah.
Maybe it's
Yeah, I also like to challenge myself though, so, and I don't mind the PvE stuff. And I knew from
Gotcha.
my experience on Valhalla that leveling wasn't really an issue.
Gotcha.
Because of the way the game's designed.
And really, I picked life staff. Not that I would refuse to heal in group content, because I actually have healed group content a couple times in New World. But I think life staff is actually a good pair to a DPS weapon like the Void Gauntlet, because it gives you self-sufficiency and sustain. You're healing yourself for the most part. So you can get out there and you can fight above you can punch above your weight class, because you can drop down heals and heal yourself up while you're fighting whatever. And if you get in trouble, you can like give yourself a couple of heals and run away. And so I like it in the same way that I like Mercenary in Star Wars The Old Republic, because I like having those self heals on hand.
right.
So it's more from that perspective. The life staff is a couple of the other weapons actually give you some self heals. It's kind of like built into some of their abilities, the way they kind of work. In fact, Hatchet did that in a way, and Hatchet will actually resurrect you after you die, like once every 5 minutes, which was a nice extra bonus.
I feel like that could come in handy.
It does. It definitely comes in handy. You think about it in PvP. You don't come back at full strength, but somebody thinks that they killed you and then you're back to life. That could be a bad day for somebody. But yeah, I like having the sustain, and I like, I like what the heals are. And as Stask is saying, I do think once in a while for group content, if I was going to do anything as a secondary role besides DPS, it would probably be healing instead of tanking, because I just don't put enough effort into learning the fights and learning the locations that I would jump in and tank as a primary. But yeah, so that's one of the things I liked. What else did you see in sort of like the new player, new experience that you thought was different and you liked, Stask? Because that's more, they've got more stuff in there too.
Yeah, they've added a lot more cutscenes, and it seems like almost all the mission pickups or quest pickups are voiced. Which
Yep.
is something I enjoy. It's a lot more immersive, and it really pulls you into the game. And they've added story, which is the same thing, more immersive, and really pulls you in.
Yeah.
Something that I felt was severely lacking at launch.
Captain Thorpe, was that guy's name?
Yep.
Captain Thorpe, he was there, but you sort of like didn't really get as much of his story, and it's still you don't get all that much of his story. But who's the antagonist woman with the red eyes that shoots?
Can't remember her name.
You stole my thing, and
lady.
now I'm gonna beat you up. I think that's what she said. See, I could be a voice actor. Wasn't that convincing?
It
Nailed
was. I'm convinced.
But she was. See, maybe it's not that great of if we don't even know her name. But she's pretty cool, and she's one of the key people who you see in this cutscene, and she's she's been corrupted by the bad part of the Azoth Aeternum land power, the red stuff that corrupts everything, and she wants to come after you, and she's all up in arms about you getting some of the power that she wanted. So I'm sure we're gonna do we fight her? I think we even fight her at some point in one of the dungeons or expeditions. Isabella. That's Isabella? Oh.
Yeah. I believe so.
Yeah. So yes, she seemed pretty cool, and then we spend a lot of time with this one.
Aeternum needs heroes.
So that voice is the ginger pirate girl, as we were calling her. What's her
Grace
name?
O'Malley.
What?
Grace O'Malley.
Grace O'Malley.
The high lass of the seas.
So I'm up here fighting these zombies, and I'm thinking, why don't you lend a girl a hand? That's the first thing she says to you. She's pretty hilarious. She shows up, and she's part of the sort of like easing you into the first location and the next location, and like you sort of like follow along. She leads you in to go like do stuff. She'll like give you encouragement along the way, and then like split the loot with you and things like that. She was a fun character. What level did you get to on the new server so far?
9.
Okay, so you're not past the first town.
No,
which I am not
just got
either.
here.
But yeah, there's plenty of fun to be had. There's good stuff going on there, and that new player experience. Yeah, it's a lot more of the lore. It's a lot of the voices. So if you haven't been back for that, even just re-experiencing some of that as coming back to the game and starting a new character is pretty cool and fun. Let's see. I had a list of a bunch of new things that have sort of been added along the way. So you didn't get to, even on Valhalla, you did not get to the Angry Earth content just yet, or did you? Did you get a mount?
No, you got to be level 20 to get the
To start the mount quest?
Yeah.
I did get the mount when Angry Earth first came out. They have been added to the game, but you don't need Angry Earth for Aeternum. If you buy it on console, you get Angry Earth with Aeternum. If you're just playing the base game and you have not bought Angry Earth, though, you can play with the console people, you can play on the new server, but you don't get the Angry Earth content, which is extra story in another zone, and the mounts. So unfortunately, you won't get a mount unless you get the Angry Earth content. But the mounts are pretty cool. I mean, they look really good. I mean, that's something I always liked about New World that always has impressed me, and I always talk about is I really like how it looks. I think the engine work performs really well. I think the art comes together really well. I know it's maybe not the style that everyone would like, but it's for the style that it is. It's rendered very well. It's very rich in color and texture, and the mounts are part of that. So they look really cool. So yeah, you'll be able to get a mount then, and they've got like horses and wolves and lions that you can ride and other stuff too, I think. What else did they add? They added like there's like a world boss, a 20-person world boss that you can fight. Their expeditions are like their little dungeons. They've like doubled the amount that they had early, from a year and a half ago, at least doubled the amount. They added a bunch of that. Have you done anything with the music system? Have you gotten an instrument?
I haven't gotten to that. No, I haven't gotten an instrument yet. I haven't crafted one. So
the instruments kind of, if you play it in town and you stand around someone with an instrument, you can get a little bit of a buff depending on the song that they play. You can't play custom songs like Lotro, but you can pick the song you're going to play to give people a buff. So you could get like a gathering buff if you stand around someone when they're playing the song. But in order for them to give you the buff, they have to play a mini game while they're playing the song. And it's kind of like a rhythm game, sort of like a Guitar Hero style rhythm game. So they have to play it well enough for you to get the buff. They have to do a good enough job. But if they do a good job, a thing pops up for everybody that was like in the listening area around them for those people to tip you automatically. Then they can like add a tip. So if you do a really good job and you play a bunch of good music for everybody, maybe you can make a bunch of gold standing around in town playing music. That's pretty cool.
I mean, that is the idea, right, of standing around in town, being a bard, right, making music is
Yeah.
to get some money.
Yeah.
And it's kind of
Toss a
and
coin
they make it
to your
easy.
Witcher.
Yes.
I like that they built it in though so that the box
Yeah.
pops up automatically.
Right.
and
So
you
that
don't
you,
have to,
as
like,
a
beg
player, you
people.
don't have to like, open up a trade.
Or even find where this bard was, because
Right,
they'll be in
right.
like within a 20-meter radius, but they might be like standing up on a platform, so everybody
Or
can
in a
see
group
them.
of people.
Yeah, a bunch of fans huddling around them for autographs.
Reflects real life.
So for you, you're a star.
No, I mean the thing popping up and saying, "Would you like to tip?"
Oh. I'm going to play a little song for you here, and then the screen's just going to ask you a couple questions.
Yes.
We're just
Maybe
going to
one
turn this
question.
around. I'm going to turn the screen towards you, and it's just going to ask you a couple questions. Thank you. Where's the zero? I don't see the 0 tip button. Funny, I don't see your order here. Weird. But yes, that is a nice little feature that they built in. They also added, I was confused because I couldn't find the way to do this. And now that I looked at the list of things that have changed, you don't have to repair your stuff anymore. Your stuff used to break all the time. You had to like keep like repairing it and spending these repair parts to repair it that you got by deconstructing other gear. So there's no more of that anymore. You don't have to worry about that, which is kind of cool. Storage was the other thing that they've kind of fixed up. So not only was all my storage empty, but each town you go to where you get more storage, it adds to a global pool of storage that any of the town storage containers that you go to has access to. So you don't have the way the game started was each town had a disconnected storage box. So I would like put all my herbs in one town that was like good for the herb trainer. And I'd put all my metal in another town that was over by the mines where I would gather metal. But then I'd have to like teleport back and forth and move things around if I needed it in different places. That's now all unified and is really nice. So that's cool. They haven't changed much in housing, have they, Stask? Not that I know of.
No, I haven't seen any changes there.
Their housing system always, I felt, was kind of clever and in an instanced way for instance housing that I kind of liked. Did you get yourself a house on Valhalla?
For like a day. I
Yeah.
didn't like paying the upkeep, so I let it go.
And it's still yours, and you can even go into it. You just can't use its services or it as a teleport point unless you pay that upkeep. So you gotta like pay rent once a week to keep up the upkeep, but you don't like lose anything out of it if you don't pay that upkeep. You just can't use the services. And then the way the housing works is you go into a town, you find a house you like in the town, and you can then rent that house and becomes your house. When you come back into the town, you will always see your house. And if you put decorations in the yard, you will see your decorations. They pick one person who has rented that house out of maybe the 30 people or 100 people that have rented that house. They do pick a person. There used to be some complicated algorithm. I don't know if it's changed, but it was like, what is your like decoration score over the past 2 weeks, and it like diminished over time. So you had to like constantly be updating it and decorating it. If you wanted to like do that little meta game to have your name at the top of the list. So when strangers come into town, they see your house, your
Right.
decorations. Otherwise, I still would always see my house, and I got to pick which of the houses I wanted, pick where it was, but I could pick any of them. You never got like locked out, which was nice. And, what do I care if it wasn't mine that people were seeing? I saw it. That was good enough for me. And then you could decorate the heck out of it. You get a bunch of decorations that you can both craft. There's a crafting skill for crafting decorations. You get a bunch of them as rewards, stuff you find out in the world. Some of them you can like get stuff out of the cash shop. Some of them are like achievement rewards. I had a dog in my house on Valhalla, and he was just like laying there. It was like a big old bloodhound, and he would just lay there. He was live, but I parked him next to the hearth, and he just laid there, and he was just my dog. I thought that was cool. I like that. So you're playing with Void Gauntlet and Life Staff, and now they have like 9 total weapons, 10, 11. I don't know. They got a lot of weapons these days. What other weapons have you tried?
There's 8, 11, 15 right now.
Crikey. So
Yeah, it's Life Staff and Void Gauntlet. Mostly Life Staff for me. I'm not a huge fan of Void Gauntlet so far, but I also haven't done a whole lot with it.
you got to do that ability that turns it into a dagger, and then you got to really stabby. Your Void Gauntlet actually becomes a dagger, which I thought was kind of cool.
Yeah, that's the first one you get.
Stabby,
But I'm leveling up the
stabby,
Life
stabby.
Staff for now. Stabby McStabberson.
Yeah. Then you'd sort of zip in there and stab them all up. But then you can also turn it into a ranged weapon, and it drops dots on the ground. Hatchets, you said you did hatchets and like those. I like the hatchets.
It's nice for some melee action.
So hatchets
Little
was
Life Staff.
you dual wielded. It was only one weapon, but you dual wielded hatchets, and you would like go to town and do like these ability that's like this flurry, and you're just like chopping all over the place. I thought that was really cool. Have you done any of the bow or blunderbuss or rifle? What is it called? Gun, rifle, shooter,
Musket.
musket? Is that what it? Musket.
Machete's doing the rapier and musket build, and he seems to be enjoying it quite a bit. I've tried the blunderbuss.
Which is
and
like
the
a
bow.
shotgun.
Yeah, blunderbuss with the sword and shield is another fun build for me. I've enjoyed.
Yeah, blunderbuss is like a shotgun, so mid-range ranged weapon, and then sword and shield is obviously more of like a tanky build, which is kind of cool. Void
And then
Gauntlet.
with these builds that you're talking about, you can just switch from build to build, right? You don't have to make a new character.
You do have to level up the weapon, but as long as you level up your weapon skill, as long as you level up your weapon skill, you could level up your weapon skill in every single weapon. There are stats that contribute to those weapons, though. So you would potentially need multiple armor sets, which is another problem with just switching, unlimited switching, and with the combinations of weapons you might choose. So there's that. But yes, you still can do it all on one character, which is kind of nice. I do like that. I was doing that. You do have affinities though. So like rapier and musket are good because they're both dexterity based weapons. They used to have a thing, and I don't know if they have it anymore. I haven't heard anybody talking about it in the videos, but there was this gem, and what the gem would do, and this is what I used to do in my life staff hatchet build, is you could put a special gem into your hatchet, because life staff goes off of wisdom and hatchet goes off of dexterity, but you could put the special gem that would give you not 100% off of wisdom, but you could basically turn it into a wisdom weapon. It would just be at like 3/4 strength of what it would have gotten off of dexterity. So I could put all my points into wisdom, but then still have a lot of power coming out of my hatchets for that would have been a dexterity weapon. I don't know. It was like not opals, amber gems of some kind. Do you know if that still exists, Stask, or do you not know?
I have not done anything with the gems.
Okay. So I don't
Asking
know.
the wrong dude there.
Yeah, I don't know if that exists anymore. But
Well, that'll be something fun to look into.
yeah,
Yes.
people don't seem to have much of a problem with it though. I will have to look into it, but like the Void Gauntlet goes off of intelligence and the life staff goes off of wisdom. So they aren't the same stat. But when I looked up the builds and heard people talking about it, they basically said you'll probably go wisdom so you get full power out of your heals because you want heals you get each threshold you go up in stats. It gives you like an extra bigger bonus. And if you get to 150 points in wisdom, it's a big bonus to your healing. So everybody wants to get to 150 points in wisdom if you're going to bother with a life staff. So they say you're probably going to do that. But if you don't mind being gimped a little bit on healed, you could put it into intelligence instead. So it didn't seem like people were having that much of a problem saying your void skills. If you get 150 points in wisdom, in intelligence and lesser in intelligence or whatever, split them, that you're bad. So it must be okay these days, or there are the gems that will help you with it. So yeah, bunch of stuff then for people that were gone. And then of the new things, like the archetypes, there's a few other new things. And I'm sure neither you nor I have gotten into these, and barely anybody has because everybody started over on these new servers, but they added a raid. They added a 10-man raid. So I think people are pretty excited about that, and it sounds like a challenge. So it's not like story mode because people aren't at full gear level yet either. Gear score goes up to 725. You can mostly get up to like 675 or so, or maybe even 700 through just like questing and crafting. But then to get above that, you need to like do some of the end game content, like the expeditions, which are the dungeons and the raids. But some of the videos are saying, yeah, people just trying to just like jump in there, coming in at 700, are having some trouble. So it's a 3-boss raid. Sounds pretty cool. Looks pretty cool. Big creatures that you fight, which is just great in New World. What do you think of the art style? I mean, I keep going on about it. What is your assessment, Stask?
Oh, I've always loved how the game looks. It's fantastic. It's a beautiful game. I enjoy it.
Yeah, I think I really like that it's also really colorful and vibrant. The Angry Earth content especially, because it's all like these lush jungle greenery just with like colorful flowers, and it just everything. Now it kind of reminds me of the Pandora Avatar Way of Pandora game, that Ubisoft game, whose environments and art of that game and landscapes are just amazing and beautiful. And which they have a little bit in here too, there's a lot of emissive textures. So like a lot of bioluminescence and that kind of thing and glowing stuff, which I think is really cool. There's the big PvP zone. That's something new too. Did you do much PvP on Valhalla? You probably didn't do much. It was actually harder to do on Valhalla.
Most of the stuff I was doing on Valhalla was just solo play, gathering.
Yeah.
Just kind of casually leveling.
Well, there's a few different kinds of PvP. What used to exist was something called Outpost Rush, and you sort of queued into that, and you'd get put on one of the side, either like a defending side or an attacking side, and it was like a defend the outpost or attack the outpost. And there was a PvE version of that though too. Now that I think about it, where there would be a bunch of creatures attacking you had to defend. There were wars. So if you're like at a big guild, you could be in control of a town, and then someone could declare war on you, and then a time would be scheduled, and you'd fight to see who would get control of the town. what they added with Aeternum, which a lot of people seem to be having fun with, more than expected, is this new zone, which is sort of like a open free-for-all PvP zone. And it reminds me of similar zones, kind of like the zones in other MMOs like Cyrodiil in ESO, but more like Diablo in the PvP zones in Diablo. Because what the point of it is you run around in there and you gather these resources. And I think it's a little PvPvE where you're like, you fight some stuff or you pick up stuff off the ground and you get these doubloons, right? And if you get enough doubloons to like meet your goal and get out of there carrying your doubloons, then you've achieved what you want to achieve in that PvP zone. If you get killed, you drop half your doubloons and anyone can pick them up. So that's sort of the point of that. It's free for all. If you're in a group, it disbands the group. And then it's, there's friendly fire. You can't group up. But there has been a little bit of a report and people expect it could go this way where people will sort of like group up anyway and everybody gets a bunch of muskets and you get like 6 people sitting on top of a hill, all with long range muskets, all picking targets and coordinated in voice and just killing everybody, one-shotting people. And people call that's toxic behavior. You're not doing it right, which would be kind of annoying. But so far, of a couple of the YouTubers that I watched, there's not a ton of that going on, and people are having some fun in there, so that's okay. That's cool. I didn't mind it a couple times I dipped into those zones in Diablo, but because people are just trying to like get the rewards and get done, sometimes you'll get people that are just sort of like ignoring the PvP and just going about their business. And like you will get little skirmishes and fights that happen, and you will get people coming in there looking for a fight, but you'll get a lot of people that are just like looking to just get their stuff done and get out. So, you'll run across somebody else, you'll see them and they'll see you, and, just come to a tacit agreement and you'll both go your separate ways. go escape with your doubloons. That kind of thing happens too. They changed transmog, which I'm happy about because, boy, you get those clown suits going. And I have some stuff because I started back in the day. I had like some Twitch drops and I had some of the early rewards. So I've got a couple cool transmog things. You go to this transmog person in town, and if you have it unlocked, then you can transmog your gear. But that's also an opportunity for cash shop stuff to come into it, which isn't egregious. They want to sell some skins or do some cool things in there. That's an appropriate use of a cash shop. What about the season? Have you done any of the season objectives, Stask?
I've gotten a couple stamps on my card. I don't think I filled out a card yet.
You get a free sandwich yet?
Yeah, stamps on your card. That sounds kind of interesting.
It's your typical. See, it kind of even looks like the Star Wars: The Old Republic season. It's just sort of the long chain horizontal. And if you buy the season pass, then you get the bonus stuff. If you don't, there's baseline stuff. So there's that kind of thing going on. Any live service game needs to have those kinds of things, both for fun and for profit. Yes, it is a source of revenue to have people buying those season passes, but as you sort of get into the game and you've gotten a bunch of stuff done, having some things to check off or some new objectives to go after and new little rewards, whether you buy the purchase part or not, is a fun, that's tricking you into fun as you're still having fun. So I don't mind that. And then swimming. Do you have any opinions on them having swimming or not having swimming? That was sort of like
Do they also have drowning?
Well, they always had drowning. That was sort of the problem.
You could always drown, but you could never swim.
The game launched with drowning, and you would walk into a body of water, and you would keep walking, and then you would like walk on the bottom of the lake.
Imagine if they put now with drowning in the list of features on the box.
And then you would drown. Like if you're trying to get across there, you'd try to walk really fast. You'd try to like keep walking, and maybe you had enough breath to walk across the bottom of the lake to get to the other side, or maybe you drown. Now they have
knows?
swimming. Woohoo! But that was something that people would meme on and claim was problematic and emblematic of how terrible of a developer they were. How could they release a game with deep water but not actually even have swimming? Whatever, it was fine. I mean,
Yeah.
it wasn't a problem. And having swimming in there doesn't actually make anything all that much better. They had to put a bunch of development work into it to shut people up, and it probably doesn't change anything for anybody except
I know you can
now that-
fish. Was that in from the beginning?
Yeah. Yeah. Have you done much fishing, Stask?
I just got my pole.
Sweet.
Over here on Hudson Land.
Hudson Land. Hudson 32700.
Yes. Hudson Hawk Hudson, as was. Fishing's fun. You can find the hot spots, or I just learned actually since transferring over to this Fresh Start server, you can just kind of free fish, where
Mhm.
you just pull out your pole and kind of cast. I don't know if that's new or if I just didn't know how to
Yep.
do that on Valhalla.
You could do that anywhere. You get the good stuff in the hot spots, but you could do it anywhere also just to get some fish and use the fish for cooking. And
And eat.
the fishing mini game is not bad. It's not brainless, but it's not overtaxing or super annoying even to do for any period of time. And there's no reason to do it like, for 2 hours straight. And it's fun enough for the amount of time that you end up being incented and to want to do it. The Throne and Liberty fishing game as a example from that we talked about 2 weeks ago was annoying doing it once. It was like too fiddly and like trying to like reel it in. You're moving all around. And then something like ESO fishing is slightly more mindless, but you need to fish up like 1,000 fish at a time to be getting like the rare things that you need for crafting. So it goes the other, it's bad in the other direction. WoW fishing was always a fine balance in my view. How is WoW fishing these days? Do you fish much in WoW, Sema?
No, I don't. But that's just because I've got so much other stuff to do. I do enjoy fishing. I want to get back to it. But yes, it works pretty much the same as it always has. It's just how interesting they make the fish themselves.
Yeah.
So there are some fish that are needed for some high level food, so that makes it desirable. And then they changed in general in the game. They changed, or they added to, because the old way still works. They added to the way targeting works.
Yeah.
So you can.
Right. You can press a button.
Right. You can. Yeah.
Oh, that's nice. I
Like
used
you
to
can
have
do
to,
it
like,
with your mouse, or you can do it with your keyboard. It's either way.
interesting. So yeah, overall, what do you like? Any final thoughts? Any other summary thoughts on your time in New World so far, Stask?
I feel like it's definitely been worth checking out, but now with Angry Earth and Aeternum, even though Aeternum just gives console players access, it's a quality MMO.
Yeah.
It is worth your time.
I agree.
I guess what was it? What was it? $20 at launch, which is what I paid. Which I was happy just for the crafting mechanic and the gathering mechanic. That was $20 well spent in my mind.
Gathering is so good in this game. It's just so tactile, and the sound design is some of the best of the best. It's top tier, the best sound design of gathering in any game.
But then, do you gather things that you actually want? Because
Yeah.
that is what makes gathering good to me.
Mm-hmm. And crafting matters in this game, so that's also good. And there's a pretty diverse set of crafting skills, both sort of like there's like a gathering skill, and then there's like a processing skill, and then here's the skill screen. Back it up. It was just on it. I just lost it. Had it, then I lost it. But it's like there's like 20 things on that screen. Damn it. So it's like you're gonna like process the logs that you're gonna chop down trees. So there's like logging, and then there's lumber working, and then there's like engineering with the processed lumber. So that might be like 3 kind of different skills, and you can have them all on one character, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's good. Yeah, so cool. That's New World. I agree. If I was going to put it on a tier list, I would definitely put it in an A tier. And probably pretty high on my list all time. If I was going to rank MMOs, this is going to rank in the top 5 of MMOs to play. So yeah, I know it gets a bad rap because people like to meme on Amazon or say that there's not enough to do in the end game or those kinds of things. But if you're a casual MMO player, there's plenty to do and it's fun. But we got other MMOs to talk about. So why don't we transition off into a couple news items. But before we do that, I do want to give a shout out to the chat room. Everybody's been in there. Forrester, Lucy, all the people who are first to say first, like Stask. So as always, thanks to everyone out there in the chat room and everyone following and listening. If anyone needs any of the subscribe links for audio or video, they're all on newoverlords.com. Don't forget that. Also, don't forget, if you're looking for one of those big family-friendly gaming communities, you can check out Alea Iacta Est. That's the game that Stask and Sema and I all play on. And you can get stuff there at aie-guild.org for AIE Discord. And our Discord is hoppin'. That's at newoverlords.com/Discord. Join us there, too. But now, let's talk a little bit about some of the other games we play in the game news there.
Good news, everyone!
So our main game, the 3 of us, right, is, of course, Star Wars: The Old Republic.
That's right.
And boy, things are happening there, aren't they? PTS. Both of you have the PTS loaded, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Sure do.
Are we going to get in there tomorrow night, you think?
Maybe, because the boss we want to try out on the test server might be available this week. So yeah.
So they've added a new lair boss, and that is on supposed to be on the test server tonight or tomorrow. And then what about dynamic events? So they added this thing called dynamic events on 2 planets, and it works. It's sort of like open world dynamic pop-up stuff just starts happening, and you can look at the map and you can find where it is and you can go and chase it down and get into it. And it's a whole diverse set of things. Have either of you done many of them yet?
I have done a handful of them.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so yeah, they're on Hoth and Tatooine right now on the PTS. So I'm not exactly sure how that's going to work once it goes live, like if they're always going to be on 2 planets or if they're going to be on all the planets or whatever, but it's actually pretty nice the way they have implemented it, because you can just look on your map and it will show you where events are happening.
Yeah, cool. What I'm thinking is we should do the lair boss and do some dynamic events. And next week on the podcast, we'll probably focus on this and some other stuff in the news, which we can also talk about, which is something you both have been playing, but Sema, you're the expert, so I'll let you take it away. For World of Warcraft 20th anniversary, 20 years. Man, I played in beta. Yeah, so tell me about the 20th anniversary. What are they doing for that, Sema?
So it's I was actually kind of amazed by it because I mean, I know I should have expected this because there's been a whole lot of, I won't say press, but announcements and all that stuff. But it is a lot. It's a lot. It's almost like having its own little version of Darkmoon Faire. Is just like a lot of stuff. And so, among other things, there's 3, and it's reminiscent stuff, right? So like there's 3 world bosses, but they're world bosses from, older X packs, like you remember Doomwalker and Archivon from Wrath of the Lich King and Shaw of Anger. And it's really, so you really, and you have to do them in a real group because they're not, I mean, they're at the correct boss level for you. It's not like you could right now today you can go back to Mists of Pandaria and just like mow down the Shaw of Anger by yourself, right? But not these. So but that's not it. That's not all. There's like a stage where there's storytelling going on. And then there's another stage where there's a version of the Trial of Style going on, which is basically how that works. Okay, I wasn't going to tell all this stuff. I just want to get right to my very favorite thing about it so far is they have this game called Mount Mania.
That's the one thing I wanted to hear about, because I keep seeing pictures of this, like
Yes,
people going,
it's
nice job,
fun.
Mount Mania. I see how it's going to be. Tell me about Mount Mania. What is going on?
So basically, you're watching this one NPC, and they announce which mount the NPC is going to be on, and then you go into your collection and try to, and you mount
Match.
up on
It's
that
like a
same
mount off.
if you have it, right? So, and that's part of what's so funny about it is like just the commentary, sort of when they like when it came to one of the ones I was playing in, they asked for the Swift Zulian Tiger, which I
Yes.
have because I
Ooh.
farmed it
Yeah.
ad
I never
nauseum
got it.
back in the day.
I never got it. I got the raptor out of there, but I never ended up getting the tiger.
Yeah, and so, but I wasn't the only one there. But that, but there was a few comments about that, and
Yeah.
just everybody's reaction. And then also, it's brilliant, right? Because I get to see mounts in my collection that I don't look at that much, which
Yeah.
makes me sort of fall in love with mount collecting again. Plus, I get to see mounts that I don't have, and
That's a fun
that makes
idea.
me think, yeah, it makes me think, oh, I should go back to Dragonflight, which I didn't really play, and earn some of these mounts because that's a really cool one. Or I'll see one that's like, oh, I could have just picked that up in Dornegal because I think I've already done the requirements for that one. And so it's definitely made me more interested in, playing WoW
That's
as well
cool.
as having fun in this contest. Yeah.
So
Brilliant.
I think next week we should do a full breakdown, and maybe I'll even jump in WoW a little bit and check some of this stuff out, but do a full breakdown of the 20th anniversary stuff and get an update. I want to hear an update on where your group content is at too. So maybe we'll split next week.
When it's one of the
between-
dragon riding mounts, because like everyone switches to their dragon riding mount, but they all come flying in like from over your shoulder.
Yeah, I just saw
All
that.
these-
That was pretty cool looking.
But when I was doing it, there was like 40 people.
So I'm watching this
area.
Taliesin Evitel video. Why does Taliesin have a framed photo of Zalatath's feet on the shelves behind him? I noticed that. That's such a Taliesin Evitel thing to do.
Right.
Going with the memes. You did it.
Right.
Boy, those
They
guys are classic.
that memes are their thing for sure.
Yeah. And they are pillars of the content creator community for sure. High quality. Cool. All right. Well, we will get to more of that next week as well. I think we should dive back into WoW. Something that I will be diving into, maybe only me and Corley.
Excitement there.
Today, No Man's Sky dropped another update. So Sean, again, last week, about Thursday, started dropping emojis, and it was the smiley face with the punctuation symbols over the mouth. So like, you're swearing, you're cursing. So this is the cursed update. So it dropped today. It's released for everybody. All it is an expedition. It's called the Cursed Expedition. The weird thing about it, it's another cool expedition, just the way the expeditions work. And I've already talked about those, how I love those as a game mode. It only lasts 2 weeks though, so that's really short. This is the 16th expedition they've done, and they usually last like a month or a month and a half. So 2 weeks makes it seem like something else is coming, or they have a reason that it needs to be 2 weeks. They've been teasing another big update to the base game called Worlds Part 2. So what everybody's speculating is, along with the PS5 launch was just coming in about 2 weeks, that maybe there's sort of like a bigger bunch of stuff that's going on. So you do the expedition now, and then in 2 weeks, this expedition, which is, weird stuff is going on in the expedition. maybe that's going to lead into what's going to happen in 2 weeks with maybe Worlds Part 2 and the breakdown in reality, which is part of the theme of this expedition. But you also get this cool ship that looks like a little a mini version of the aluminum falcon. What's an aluminum falcon? Looks like a little Millennium Falcon. Looks very cool. And you get it. You get it if you complete the expedition, and you get it on all your saves. So that is a cool thing. Man, I want that. I want that now. So I'm going to be playing that on my Steam Deck as I am traveling this weekend because for once they timed it right so that I will be able to play it when I look for a game to play on my Steam Deck, and this is my favorite game to play on a Steam Deck.
Sweet. Good timing.
Okay. Here's our other follow-up on our game of the moment last week. I don't know if you heard about this, Stask, when we talked about it last week. Metaphor ReFantasio. It's this anime, turn-based, one of those kind of games. And I don't know why this it fascinates me. Why don't you explain it, Sema?
Oh, no. No.
Okay. So here's the deal. This is a part of the game. So what happens is you can use the bathroom in the game. You can take a dump, right? And it turns out that if you take a dump on the right day at the right time, you actually get permanent stat boosts to your character. And it's like every 5th day, it's called Idles Day. So it's like a kind of like a weekend day in game. You use the bathroom and you take a dump and you get +1 boost to your character's luck stat permanently if you do that. My question is...
I mean, in fairness, you just use the bathroom. I don't think you have to choose number 1 or number 2.
Well, what's the point?
That choice is made for you.
They say
Race choices that matter.
They say all the articles say you have to take a dump. So I don't know what their deal is, but this is the thing. Why? That's my only question. I find it fascinating. Okay, it's a thing, I guess, but why? and then like to have players have to discover it. Then
I
are like
think that in this same article they mentioned too that at some point, if you get to a certain level, that you also get a kind of buff if you take a bath. So I don't know if they're going after like a sort of a sim kind of feel of immersiveness.
But you know what this leads to is now every player in every one of these kind of games is going to be like taking a dump all the time in lots of different places and different times because you never know. It could be a bonus.
Let me experiment here.
I made a promise a long time ago that if I ever make a video game, that the players will not have to pick up poop.
Yes,
I may
I appreciate
extend
that.
that at this point that you won't have to take a dump for bonuses either. I don't know. Maybe I'm missing out. Maybe I need to go back on that because it's a really fun thing that players are going to demand. We'll put out a survey. Would you like here's our MMO survey, Star Wars: The Old Republic. We can either add a new operation to the game, or we can add bathrooms that work. Which would you like? Bathroom. We need a bathroom. We need to take a dump.
Bathroom.
Do I get a stat bonus? Bathroom.
+5 to aim.
+5 to aim. Remember when aim used to be a stat? I love
Yes,
that.
but now I'm going to think of it differently.
Yeah.
You know what makes me happy is if I was watching this video, the comments in the video were just so full of love for this game.
Yeah.
So it was really, really a happy thing to read. And people were saying, this is already my game of the year, blah, 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 blah. And I love the story. And yeah.
And the pooping is bar none.
Gosh.
It's just...
Yes.
people that like these games really like these kinds of games. So there's
Yeah.
that.
I mean, it's heavy on the
Persona, all the games
story.
that are like
Yeah.
this. Yeah. I never got into them very much, like the Persona games or anything, but yeah, they definitely have their fans, and it seems like a good fandom, so I'm all for that. Last bit I wanted to run down, which I thought was just fun to think about because they're all sort of starting up around now, is a lot of games, and it's a lot of games. In fact, I read a couple articles on where are the best Halloween events. So it's the Halloween events in games. And the 2024 best Halloween events in games, they were terrible options. It was like Fortnite because you can put on a funny mask. So do Fortnite. Fall Guys has this, there's a pumpkin in there. It's like, no, what about like these, like all the MMOs that have like these amazing Halloween events that they come back every year? New World's a great one. So Stask, you and Machete, and when I get back next week, I'm definitely going to do it some more. It's better if you level up a little bit first. It's a good event. You can just go to any of the towns that you have unlocked and go and pick up stuff. I think it's like trick-or-treating, kind of how you do it in WoW, where there's like a cauldron, I think, if I remember that correctly. And then the boss fight, where you can get some good drops off of that boss. It's like a world boss that everybody can go and fight. And it doesn't matter if you just like go in there and die. But then you're also getting this currency by doing the trick-or-treating in the world boss. And there's a lot of great rewards. So I'd recommend that one. What about you, Sema? What's your favorite MMO Halloween event? Probably WoW. You like?
Yeah, I mean, it would have to be WoW because in Star Wars they don't really have one.
Yeah, they don't really have a Halloween
Har-
event, and we
Star
have
Wars
the Harvest
it's more
Festival.
limited because they have to be, true to their world.
in universe. Yeah,
Right. Whereas WoW can be just unapologetically,
yeah. WoW
jack
breaks that
lanterns.
wall all the time.
Yeah,
But-
broomstick mounts and
But even All Hallows, Hallows End in WoW was always, they did it kind of like in world, in universe when they first came out, because it was like Headless Horseman, but it very reminiscent of even, like the,
right. They call it Hallows End. They don't call it Halloween.
right.
But
And there's a Wicker
so
Man and
there's reasons for it and stuff. But
it matches
yeah.
the zones where they stage it. It's like where there's the small towns and the people like celebrating harvest and that kind of thing.
right.
But yeah, that was always a good one. Have you done it yet this year? Get your Headless
Not
Horseman fight?
not yet, but I do have the Headless Horseman mount, so the pressure's off.
Yeah, I think that's another one that I may not have gotten, or maybe I finally did, because in the last couple of years, it seemed like they really opened it up and made it easier to get.
Mm-hmm.
In the old
feel
days,
like
I would like grind and never get any of that stuff because RNG,
Yeah. I mean, I got this one in the olden days, but I think, because, doing it with guildies, we had like, people that were getting it like 2, 3, 4, 6 times. So yeah, I think they did do some messing around with the numbers, which is good.
Yeah. You know which one I saw ranked highly across MMOs was Lord of the Rings. And so Lord of the Rings has a Harvest Math Festival. Lord of the Rings events, for as old and as sort of like lower fidelity, lower graphics quality that the game is, their events are always really good. All of their events are really fun. I really like their winter event. But yeah, so they've got one that people, especially Lotro players, I'm sure, really like. It's called Lotro Harvest Math. ESO's events are also quite good. ESO holiday events. So ESO's got a good one. It's called the Witches Festival. And all of ESO's events tend to be pretty high quality. So I like those. I haven't played ESO in a long time though. I should fire that one back up in months when I finally have some free
Right, I
time.
was gonna say, coming right on the end of you saying you should play more New World.
Yeah, which reminded me, there's a good one in Fallout 76. and that also popped to the list. And I did think about it, and there is a thing I want from it. But ironically, this morning I also just canceled my Fallout First subscription because I haven't been back in Fallout First in weeks, and do not expect to be back there because there's just so much going on. But Fallout, if you get one of those candy bowls, get one from me. Fallout 76 has got a fine little event also. Guild Wars 2, really good. The Mad King Festival, that's always been good, and that's an older one. That's really
Lord
done well.
Hollowjack. Yeah.
That's a great
What
one.
kind of
What's
was that
that?
an RP walking right there?
You know what surprised me? Star Trek Online has one. It's called the Witching Hour. And it's like, I don't know. It's like, I don't know if they're doing it in the holodeck or what. But they have their holiday events are pretty good. But usually their holiday events, like their Christmas event, is hosted by Q, and Q basically teleports you into this weird Christmas dimension that he creates to basically mess with you, which in universe for Star Trek is like
Right.
a thing.
Right on.
So I don't know if this is similar, but they have a good one in here that apparently people have fun with. And then the last two I had was Final Fantasy. Of course, Final Fantasy 14 always has good events as well. Their Night of Devilry is back again and going on for the next week until November 4th. And you can get some good cosmetics, glamours, as they call them in Final Fantasy. And then the last one, which I don't know if our ARC group in our Discord is going to take advantage of, but there will be an ARC Fear Ascended event, which is kind of a new thing that is coming out. So ARC Fear Ascended, I don't know what they're doing with it. It's weird though, and this is kind of like how that they've been running lately. Their development is having a rough time staying on schedule, having a rough time getting things out when they're supposed to. So their Halloween event is coming out basically on Halloween, and then it'll run for 2 weeks after because they couldn't get it out sooner, apparently. So it's coming out on the 30th. So Arc Fear Ascended. And the way they work, if you run an Arc server, is it basically comes to you as an add-on that you install as part of a server host package. And you could sort of like turn it on for your server. We haven't been in Arc recently, but maybe we'll turn it on for our aberration map where people are current and jump in there and just take a quick look, see what they got going on. Because the events like that in Arc, if you are an Arc player, are pretty good too. So yeah, Stask, have you done many of these Halloween events? What's your favorite Halloween event across all games? Is it Fall Guys? It's probably Fall Guys, isn't it?
Yeah, it is Fall Guys. I don't know. You know me too well. That one is just top notch. Fall Guys.
Roblox. I saw Roblox has stuff too.
A lot of that. No, I haven't played too many Halloween events in game. Most of my time is in SWTOR. Like you guys said, there isn't a Halloween event. Their fall event is more Thanksgiving.
Yeah, which we're doing and having fun with. So there's that too.
Yeah, I'm having a lot of fun there. But
yeah, I recommend do then the New World one.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I plan on getting into that. I think I just saw that I'm not quite at level for it or something.
But I think you can do even just like the low level stuff. You won't get a lot of the currency, but you could do the low level stuff to get you and I and Machete can get some of the currency by doing like the trick or treat things. And you can do like that. I think you can do it a couple times a day. And they go on cooldown. And then you'll get a couple of the rewards out of the reward shop then. Maybe like the pumpkin mask, stuff like that.
And
you can dance
Lucy
around in
too,
the cauldron.
when Lucy gets in here, she can join us for trick-or-treating.
Yes. We'll have to see. So that, I think, is a good roundup. Reminder on release date news, just to cap us off for the evening. Thanks for coming for an evening show with us, Stask. But this weekend starts weekend only Alpha 2 of Ashes of Creation. We have someone who is going to be streaming it. Bach is going to be streaming it in AIE. So if you want to look at it, you could jump in the AIE Discord and ask Bach when he's going to be streaming it. I will be playing it, not this weekend though, because I'm out of town, but I will be playing it. It's very alpha though, from what I've heard. It's very alpha. And the developers are really trying to set expectations. They're only running it on weekends. By December, I think it's going to open up to more than just weekends. But it's alpha 2, and it's very alpha. Not all the systems are in there. Not all the locations are done. So I think people are looking at it a little bit askance as well, because they think this game's never going to ship. But there's that. That is coming, starting this weekend. Call of Duty on the 25th, so that's in 2 days, and Dragon Age: The Veilguard on Halloween, the 31st. So fun stuff coming up. Next week, we'll probably talk about Star Wars: The Old Republic and World of Warcraft and our time in there with the 20th anniversary, and on the PTS for Star Wars: The Old Republic with the new stuff coming. And with that, I think we are doing pretty good. Again, thanks a lot, Stask, for coming on. Why don't you tell people where they can catch you as the big-time streamer that you are now?
Yeah, my stream schedule's been pretty spotty lately just because of real life, but I am on Stask 27, STASK 27, twitch.tv. Check me out. If I do stream, it's Wednesday and or Thursday, and then I try to get Sunday mornings.
Yeah,
back
maybe
on-
Stask
on
can
Stask.
stream our PTS stuff for SWTOR tomorrow night. I've
There
sort
we
of
go.
left off my streaming of our SWTOR stuff in favor of Stask, because he's always
Oh.
streaming now for our Thursday night ops team, which is cool.
You're a gentleman, but I appreciate you guys having me on. It's always a pleasure to be on a big podcast like this. So it's seen by thousands of people.
Well, one of our episodes was seen by thousands of people.
Still counts.
There's that. Otherwise, anything you got to wrap us up, Sema? You going to be ready to talk about World of Warcraft next week?
Sure.
Can't wait. Do you have good stories to tell about group content? All right, are you
We'll
guys
see.
killing it? All right, we're gonna have to hear about that too. So that is it for us today. Thank you, everyone. All the feed and subscribe links for us are on newoverlords.com, and our video is on YouTube/New Overlords. Please come chat with us in our Discord at newoverlords.com/Discord. And you can also follow on all the social networks while they still exist. And we'll keep you up to date there too on when we go live and when this podcast is published. And with that, we will talk to you soon.
Later, everyone.